ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the AlteredConfusionLLC Thursday Night Hangout.
You know why I'm excited that it's Thursday night?
Because Charlie finally didn't screw up.
And I'm finally back after being on hiatus for a week. And we're also trying to bust people's eardrums in the audience. Because really, who needs eardrums when you can lip read?
Hopefully that improved your audible experience.
We're just making sure you get the Altered Confusion experience in high def.
Dude.
I'm usually right about over here.
Well, you can, if you look at the picture, you could see that for some reason you are now center mass.
I blame that on the camera placement by the Overlord.
Yes. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again and finally by the perfect comer himself, Zealeus.
Finally, healthy again, did not show up and give everybody the plague as tempting as it is.
When was the last time you, oh no, you were, okay, so, let's see, there's the Ando show.
Yes, I was not there for that.
Yeah, Zealeus moved more to the right.
There's literally, ow! That was my leg.
Hold on. There.
And so I was there for a week.
So you weren't there for AndoCon, then you came back, and then you missed the Craig one. Now you're back.
So basically, I missed all the special guest commentators.
Dang it!
It's like, I don't really like these Ando people or these Craig people. I'm just going to do it on my own.
No, give me the mouse.
Fine, here's a mouse, sir. So I'm happy to be back. And hopefully I can make it at least 1 or 2 weeks without, being sick again would be great.
Hooray! Non-sickness.
It's a fantabulous thing. Actually, I won't be here in 2 weeks.
Oh, jeez almighty!
I will be in Houston, Texas, doing robotic-y things. And leading our team to world domination with a robot to give us victory over mankind's soul.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm going to... What the hell was that? Anyways. Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, I don't have mono.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to now perform my doing of the do.
It is the holy concoction of Altered Confusion. It makes us well and happy.
Well, me. It probably makes everyone else sick, but...
you got special genes.
Sure. Whatever you say, Zealeus.
I say whatever I do say, Charlie.
That sounds weird, Zealeus. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, first off, right off the bat,
would you like to just keep the mouse?
I do want to just do a quick shout out to Mr. Craig Campbell and his game that is, of course, still in a live Kickstarter, Capers. Capers actually got a little bit of a write-up in something called Geek and Sundry, which is basically what you want to, if you have like an analog game, you kind of want Geek and Sundry to have a little bit of TLC for your game. And so congrats to Craig, hit all those freaking stretch goals. I want awesomeness, pure awesomeness.
Yes.
Anywho.
And I finally did Kickstart it yesterday to bring it to $7,000.
You finally did? Dude,
I was waiting for the right moment.
I got the last one where I get my my illustration put in the book.
I was waiting for the right moment.
Whatever.
And to get to $7,000 felt like the right moment.
All right, fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into our stories today. And as some people have so eloquently put, first of all, if you want to be part of our Discord channel, hit us up through any of our social media stuff, and we'll give you the Discord links that you can add yourself, so you too, my friends, can learn about all of the topics and even submit topics to help us create this show that you guys want. So anyways, so let's jump into the first story, and the first story is the toxic environment of game studios.
Oh my!
Now, of course, the logo you'll see if you're watching this video and not through the audio amazingness is the Telltale Games logo. Now, many people probably know of Telltale because of the Walking Dead series. This studio is basically the reason why episodic games like point-click adventures really came back in force. The founders actually were ex-LucasArts employees.
Oh, yeah.
So they resurrected Sam and Max, as well as, Monkey Island.
Oh yes, Adventure. That's a classic.
So anyway, so they actually started way back when, which of course is
Like back before the dinosaurs?
back before the dinosaurs. No, they started I think in the early 2000s. I want to say. But now, of course, now that I'm looking at my notes, I can't find them anywhere. So, yay. Okay, there it is. 2004.
That's the 2000s.
Yep. So, anyways, they had 2 licenses. They first had the Jurassic Park license, which everyone goes, that's not a very good game. And then they had the Walking Dead one, which basically won a shit ton of awards, put their name on the map, and all of a sudden, what was once upon a time a small indie studio literally started like growing and
growing people and employees and
well
stuff.
no they basically took on a bunch of different titles because now people are like, oh shit, we've got something that would probably work, and Telltale's like, yep, let's do it. So they started.
It has a story, you can make it episodic.
Right. So basically, starting in around 2013, they started to expand dramatically. I believe they started off with 100 employees. Yeah, it was 100 employees when Walking Dead started, or when it really hit it big, and then they just basically started, branching out as quickly as possible. They literally were like adding people and subtracting people from different projects. They're trying to run this all simultaneously. They ran into something that actually caused the shutting down of both the development and a game development, as well as the branch of a certain company called CCP. CCP, of course, their thing was they were trying to make a World of Darkness MMO. However, they screwed the pooch several times with EVE Online. So they literally were taking everybody, huge chunks of employees off of the World of Darkness thing to try to right the ship with EVE Online. And then when they came back, well, then they have to, they'd have to get back up to speed, and they would rewrite stuff. And so it's just this endless like cycle down a toilet. And of course, we know that the World of Darkness MMO died, and the CCP studio, the development part of CCP in Atlanta has basically dried up. So what's happened at Telltale? Now, of course, Telltale hasn't gone away. They're still producing games. However, if you remember a while back, we mentioned that they had to lay off 90% of their developers.
That's a lot.
Not 90%, 90 developers, which was 3/4 of their company.
That's still a lot.
It is, simply because people. It was overbearing. Former employees of this company basically said that what once was a tight-knit group with a strong sense of camaraderie became basically an environment where you could walk around the office and you didn't really recognize anyone. One of the things that happens when you basically have a more, I guess, prestigious or more in the spotlight company or product is that you're trying to hold on to that success. You're trying to keep as much money, you're trying to keep doing, you're trying to keep as much money coming in, so you want to keep your profits the same, right? But of course, with a bigger company, you're going to have to pay more people. So what was happening was individuals who had been there forever were being very vague and shady about knowledge transfer. So of course that makes the individuals who are already there irreplaceable. However,
well, of course you don't want to give people your information, otherwise they can lay you off. It's a classic IT strategy.
Right.
It's my little fiefdom, and I'm never going to tell you how to use this keyboard, because if I'm the only one here who knows how to use this keyboard, you can't lay me off.
Right. So at the same time, so then you had basically these two tribes. You had the old people and the new kids on the block. So of course there's that meshing issue, and also the two like main dudes behind The Walking Dead season 1 for Telltale left the company shortly after. And that really rose some red flags to the industry. Like, what the hell is going on? So, to kind of go into a little bit more of behind the scenes, what was happening was, like I said, they were rotating developers out of different games during development processes, sometimes in ways that employees say made little sense. This is a great quote that one of the developers said. 9 women can't make a baby in 1 month. I mean, that's true. It's basically they're going to throw as many developers as it takes to try to get out the product as fast as possible. That
doesn't work
really
that way
yeah, exactly.
necessarily.
Logistically, it doesn't work that way. Another employee said there was a T-shirt that the studio distributed that basically had the episode release dates listed on the back of the T-shirt. And he said there were so many releases that were happening that it looked more like they were promoting a concert tour. So focus on quality really started to shift to let's just get as many episodes out as we can.
Sure.
That is, of course, the very dangerous thought process of a lot of the companies that have to go through the mega producers like EA,
Oh yeah.
Activision, and Ubisoft.
You kind of start losing your soul about the quality of the game.
Right. And then, of course, one of the other things was because of the okayness of Jurassic Park, the developers had to, basically the developers didn't have to mess around with upper management because they wanted to get the best solid game as possible out in a timely fashion. Now, of course, once they hit it big, the upper management started getting more and more involved. One person in particular that people are saying that was the biggest issue. Now, during all of this, all these release dates and all that stuff, and the popularity, what started happening was executives would often ask teams to rewrite, redesign, recast, and reanimate up until the very last minute without properly adjusting the schedule.
Of course.
Which is a big no-no. There's this wonderful thing called a code freeze. For those who don't know what code freeze is, basically, on this date, at this time, no one touches the code. It is done. No touching.
We try to do the same thing with my robotics team. Like, if we have a competition on Saturday, kind of like the release date.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, no more building, just driving, kind of equivalent of.
Is this a stable build? It is.
Probably just like programming. How often do you think that happens with us?
Not very often.
Never.
However, you really, 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 really should have a code freeze, especially when you're about to show something off. If
Ideally,
it works,
yes.
If it works, leave it the F alone. We're like, oh, but I want to add this feature, or this would be really cool. Well, are you sure that? I mean, there's a reason why there's a cutoff, so that testing can be done, bugs can be found.
But there's always one more improvement to be made, man.
No.
One more improvement.
No.
That's all it takes.
No. Anyway, so as basically the schedules aren't being adjusted, we're talking about crunch time. And crunch time is something that is notorious in the game industry. There's a company in Atlanta, or Alpharetta actually, called Tripwire Interactive. They basically had crunch time for a very, very long time. For a very, very long time. But for Telltale, their employees were reportedly working 14 to 18-hour days or coming in every day of the week for weeks on end. But here's the thing with Telltale, the development cycle is continuous, okay? Because you're doing episodic games.
There's always another episode.
There's always another episode. There's always another property that you could be switched on to now that last episode is on. So that crunch time could then extend into another episode, and then another, and another.
Aren't video game developers notorious for doing this to their employees, though?
Yes.
Chewing them up and spitting them out?
Yes. The rapid pace of development caused many employees to feel significant burnout.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, when you start having like huge crunch time, upper management will, at some point, start giving you like incentive emails. Like, you go, dude or dudette, you're doing awesome. We'll for all your hard work. We'll give you something in return.
We'll get you pizza for dinner, man.
Well, actually, Tripwire Interactive actually took every single employee and their significant other on a week-long cruise, which is fucking sweet. What Telltale was telling their people is that that they were going to offer unlimited paid time off for those who need it. However,
Unlimited with an asterisk.
but here's the thing,
Is
though.
this like the Verizon Unlimited?
Well, no. You could take unlimited PTO, but here's the thing, because the development cycle basically really never stops.
Yeah.
So you leave, you come back, you have no idea what's going on, and also because you're in the game industry, your job could miraculously disappear within 2 weeks of you returning, because you're given notice. It's not like they're going to fire you immediately, because you can't fire you for taking PTO. However,
You can still get 2 weeks notice that you're out for no reason.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I mean, with America and just the way our laws are with not just here, but in jobs in general, I mean, I know a lot of people at their jobs, it's frowned upon to take PTO. And it's like, what? Why are you such a slacker? Why do you have to take time off of work, man? You should be here every day busting your ass.
Nope.
And, I think, some industries are definitely worse or better about that. Whereas it's just, I know we're hearing this story about Telltale Games, but it seems like I've heard these type of stories, and I'm sure you've seen them.
Well,
because you've worked in-
EA was doing unpaid overtime, and the families of EA employees actually won the lawsuit.
Yeah. And this is definitely a thing with, people, basically, if you take too much time off that you're allotted by your contract, they could still fire you. They won't say that, but
Right.
there's a, yeah.
So basically, to wrap up this Telltale story, one of the most troubling dynamics, basically, if you wanted to point to one thing at Telltale that basically made that dramatic shift, it's in the co-founder, Kevin Bruner. He was at one time the CTO, he was a director, and then he became the CEO. And so what happened was, at first he was kind of hands-off. He let the company do whatever he wanted. But of course, once the popularity and the success started, he wanted to be more involved. He wanted to have his fingers in there, and he wanted to be part of it, because when The Walking Dead exploded, all of the accolades went to the two lead developers, who then, of course, left after the first season. And people are saying that he was the reason, because he felt gypped because he didn't get as much spotlight. So he wants more spotlight. So many former employees list him as a creative bottleneck who micromanaged every part of the development process, from pitch to final product, even going so far as to personally rewrite tutorial text.
It's very hands-on.
Now here's something. Numerous employees, both current and former, say that he cultivated a culture of fear, and the running joke was he literally is the Eye of Sauron.
He's everywhere, and he sees everything you do.
A lot of times at Telltale, you don't feel like you're wanted there. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, companies are going to do what they're going to do. They are going to try to get they're going to squeeze out as much as they can to turn a profit that they think is successful. Unfortunately, it's at the detriment of the developer. I believe the average video game developer's life expectancy in the industry is something between 4 and 5 years before you absolutely 100% burn out.
I'm not surprised.
It's because you're literally, you're thrown to the wolves, and it's a very thankless job, especially if you're in a huge company, where when things are, in like crunch time, or there's something big that's happening, they pull in the developers, and once it kind of cools down, they throw all the developers out because they don't need them anymore,
So
and they don't want to pay for them.
Do you have any desire to go back into video game development?
Not as a developer.
Why not as a developer? Because of that?
Yeah, and I don't think that my coding skills are up to par with many people. I mean, I could code. I mean, I've gotten up here to be dangerous, but I'd rather be like a community manager, a QA manager, something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, just from the sound of it, I remember when I was in college and I was a computer science major. And after doing one of those projects, rewriting some game for your freshman project, I'm like, wait, this is the future I'm looking at, is literally sitting at a desk coding for hours on end. I'm like, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Well, the other, and just really quick, there's a lot of people who are like, well, it would be awesome to be a tester at a game company because I get to play all the cool games. No, you don't. When you go to a company, let's say that this company has Ultra Brutal Killer 5000.
Yeah, 5,000 kills.
But they also deal with Super Barbie Adventure. Chances are you could be playing either game. You don't get to choose. And you're not going to actually get to play through the entire game. You're going to be given sections of that product to test, which could mean you're going in and out of the pause menu, trying to hit different keystrokes and try to do things in different fashions for 2 weeks at a time.
There's no way it could do that. That was actually my real major in college, was biochemistry, and kind of similar was you had to do the same experience every day, all day. It's all about repetition because you had to basically check your control to make sure it worked to see if it works or not. Kind of the same thing with QAing. If it's done correctly, you have to test that same thing over and over. You need the kind of people who are very repetitive and can do that same repetitive thing over and over. It takes a certain type of personality to do it and do it well.
Well, the other thing is, and this is why it's always good to create automated scripts, which means that you write something, you write some code out, and it basically does that action without you having to manually do it.
Sure.
It's for regression testing. Regression testing basically means if there was something that the game was doing beforehand and should not have changed, you have to retest it upon every single release, every single iteration. So that's why you constantly have to redo and redo and redo Super Barbie Adventure, Horse Park Adventure. Since apparently Super Barbie Adventure is already out, thanks.
Nudge knows things.
And literally you'd have to go back ever so often and do that one. So, I mean, it's not a glamorous job. Sure, potentially you could rise up the ranks. But I will tell you this right now, at least in the state of Georgia, the going salary as of 3 years ago for a QA tester is about $21K a year. So,
well, it kind of
you're
makes
not gonna
sense.
make money.
I mean, obviously that's not much,
No.
but if you think about the actual skills that are needed to be a QA tester, what are they?
Documentation skills, the ability to clearly outline exactly how you reproduce that error, a small sense of coding, and your willingness to basically do certain actions that would cause the vast majority of the population to put their head through a wall.
There you go. And of course, your upper management isn't going to care about that.
No.
Be like, you can bash your head through that wall if you continue QA testing afterwards.
Here's the thing, though.
But you'll have to pay for the repairs.
Right.
We'll just talk from your pay.
Right. And the other thing is, in very many situations, when you do testing, if you hope to God that you are a full-time employee, most of the time you're a contract worker.
Oh, yes.
Because one of the things with QA testing in particular is that you don't want the same testers around the entire time, the entire time this game's being developed, because those testers will actually become used to certain quirks within the game, which then means that you're not able to see all the things. All right, so let's move on to the next story, because I know that people want to know, as many people probably, if you are on Discord, you know that this is the Toxic Thursday. Because literally all our topics are about toxicity, with the exception of one thing. Well, actually, it does breed some toxicity.
Can we listen to some toxicity?
No.
Some chop suey?
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, there's more!
Yes, toxicity. Ladies and gentlemen, there is, okay, so the graphic says Riot Games, Blizzard, and Twitch team up. That's not, those are three of the big names. Basically, there's this thing called the Fair Play Alliance. It's a coalition made up of 30 different game development companies, including Riot Games, Twitch, CCP, and Epic. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to basically come together and find out ways to combat toxicity and try to take care of it. Instead of everyone, one of the things that some unknown developers have voiced is, we don't want to be that one company that comes on and goes, all right, we're going to really, try to take care of this toxicity. We're going to do this and this and this, because then you're putting your game and your company in the crosshairs. But if everyone's jumping in and basically sharing their experiences, what they've done wrong in the past, what has worked right, and they basically use this brain trust to try to get a standardized set of rules and guidelines to help try to combat the toxicity, hopefully it will work. So one of the biggest things, of course, is that what the difference between like the mutual respect. So with close friends, you're going to say a lot of things that you're not going to tell other people that are strangers to you, because you know each other and you can poke at individuals in a way that you can't do with strangers. But one of the things, if you have one of the biggest issues that has occurred and continues to occur is that when a certain company or companies try to lock down someone for being overly toxic, they potentially give that gamer the power to actually become like an internet superstar. Case in point is
Bad news.
Case in point is a gentleman, a streamer by the name of Tyler1. He was a notorious League of Legends streamer. Riot Games and Twitch's punitive systems failed in ways neither company saw coming, ultimately turning a problem child into a star instead of teaching him a lasting lesson. So what they're trying to do is, they want to stop that ability. Now, of course, it's not going to happen overnight. This is still, they're still trying to lay down the groundwork. They haven't worked out all the kinks. However, it would be very interesting if all these companies actually do give, a full 100% attention to do this, maybe it would help.
So are they going to have like a galactic central repository of like all the bad players?
Yep. So no. It's going to be
so when AlteredConfusion becomes the ultra toxic player and Paladins, now all of a sudden Riot Games and Blizzard knows to block this player too.
No, it's not. They're not going to make an FBI most wanted list. Okay.
That'd be so
what
much
they're trying to
cooler.
do.
Like the top 10 trolls in video games.
Well, what they're trying to do is they want to be able to share research and lessons learned around gaming communities in the hopes of cutting down on disruptive behavior, i.e. toxic behavior, in the future. They want to create a consistent set of behavior standards between companies and a common understanding of the underlying issues that cause poor behavior in online communities. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to find better ways to manage the toxicity. They're not going to, the thing is, sure, you can write a list of gamers for one game. However, their username is going to be different across the board, potentially. So, and it would be really frowned upon if they're like, yeah, by the way, the ISP is, the IP for this person is this. We did a backtrace, his name is this, he lives at this location. I don't think
just call CSI, they'll help you out. But you know
CSI.
everything about it, man.
So anyways, it's interesting. I don't know if it'll actually work. The thing is, all these companies really have to work at it. It can't be just a couple companies doing things and everyone going off, yeah, that's cool.
Here's my problem with that. It seems like a great idea, but I really don't give two craps about the internet star made a star because of toxicity.
That means that more people want to be like him.
Yeah,
because he's made money now.
But it's not even that. It's just people in general, regardless of whether or not they think it's going to make them famous, they feel like there's nothing wrong with being a troll or a jackass or toxic in games in general. That's more so what annoys me, is that there's no by and large, a lot of the PvP-oriented games don't do a very good job at the day-to-day jackwagons in dealing with those.
Well, I know, but the thing is, if you have a standardized way of looking at things, maybe parsing through text or certain behavior, red flags, maybe you can help curb some of that. I don't know how you would curb it, but anyways, let's move on to the next story, which I'm okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, Fortnite, the mobile version, is now out.
Wait, Fortnite's on the iPhone too?
Yeah.
I thought it was PUBG.
No, PUBG actually came out after Fortnite Mobile came out.
Wait, Fortnite has a mobile version? I'm leaving, man. I'm going home.
But here's the funny thing, okay? A very interesting shift in dynamic has occurred since Fortnite has moved to the mobile platform. That is that because it's on the cell phone, and apparently, stereotypically, girls spend more time on their cell phones, which is absolute bullshit. But it is interesting to notice that women who may not, they don't own a computer that might be able to run Fortnite, are now playing Fortnite on the mobile device, and this has caused a little bit of hostility in the gaming community, the male gaming community.
What?
Yes.
How dare the females rise
There
up?
is a Twitter user out there who said, girls have officially ruined Fortnite Mobile.
Yes.
Girls in my school killed Fortnite Mobile for me.
Probably because he got killed by the girls, and so he's taking it out on the gender.
Yeah, exactly. The conversations often involve aggravation by male gamers about the presence of female gamers, something that's very more prevalent in the last 2 weeks as Fortnite has exploded from PC and console to mobile. Tons of people are playing it. More specifically, people are playing Fortnite Mobile who wouldn't normally play an intensely competitive multiplayer game. It's free, and now that it's on the phone, you don't need a specialized hardware to play it.
You do realize this costs more than a computer would cost to play Fortnite, but whatever.
Not if you haven't got a contract.
You're paying for it via your cell phone bill.
You're paying it through your ISP.
What?
You're paying for Fortnite. You're saying your cell phone bill. Your cell phone bill is equivalent to paying your monthly ISP.
No, I'm saying is most of the cell phone companies like AT&T and Verizon, they don't include in your cell phone. You're still having to pay your cell phone on top of the bill now. They don't bundle it in for the iPhone like they used to.
What company are you with?
AT&T does that. They don't bundle it in anymore.
You need to get away from AT&T because Verizon does that.
Okay.
Anywho, crazy person. Anyway, so
Always.
So basically, many of the Fortnite hardcore players on PC and console are basically stating that non-gamer types are flooding the Fortnite arena because of the ability to play on the mobile.
But by definition, playing on the mobile, doesn't that make you a gaming person?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yes.
I know words are hard for some people, not you, but in general, it's hard to understand what makes a person a gamer. I know we've had this conversation.
And of course, here's to show you how chauvinistic the male gaming community can be. Here's a quote that was given by one Fortnite gamer.
Oh gosh.
He said, "All you girls hated on Fortnite for so long. So long? Fortnite's not been out for so long.
All right, kids have the memory of a fishpole.
I know. But
Tadpole.
Once it comes out on mobile, you're sucking dick for codes.
That's just...
These girls playing Fortnite Mobile, the same girls that were complaining 2 weeks ago about not getting a text back. Really? Oh my God.
Sounds about right for high school, middle school drama. Don't you miss those days? Yes, welcome to the world of bringing video games to all genders and types of people. You can play against everybody in a level playing field. Isn't it grand? Isn't it great, Charlie?
Can we just be happy for the fact that individuals who might not have previously played a very popular game are now interested in playing a popular game?
No, I have to be judgmental because I always have to be complaining about something and blaming my shortcomings on something outside of my control.
Ugh.
I'm just saying, it's much easier that way than taking responsibility for my own actions.
Hey, all I have to say is that, ladies and gentlemen, of all shapes and sizes, and nationalities and genders and whatever, if you want to play games, cool. You want to play online games, cool. I got no problem. You could, if you're playing an online game that I play and you kick the shit out of me, cool. I don't care. Means that I suck, which I suck on a lot of games. So, anyways, but seriously, when? No!
Call the ambulance.
Oh no! This girl's actually better than I am. Grow a pair.
Learn to play better.
Or if you just can't take it, play another game. It's not like there's only one game out there to play.
But this is my game that they've ruined, man.
Well, then maybe it's time to move on.
Maybe you should move on.
I did. I stopped playing the game.
Ah, you beat me at my own game.
Seriously, just, oh my God. I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely that mentality of like, it's the discussion we've had about what makes a gamer. And typically males think that they have like this monopoly on when it comes to be a real video game player. It's kind of the same mentality of people who hate titty streamers, where they're only popular at cosplayer XYZ because of that. Never mind the other actual talents that they actually have.
They could be amazing at League of Legends,
yes,
or Smite or Dota or World of Warcraft, but because they point the camera in such a way that it shows off their cleavage, they're just attention whores, and they're not really gamers, and they should be banned from ever showing themselves.
Yep, it's the exact same mentality of basically the male domination, thinking if a woman doesn't do exactly the way that they should in a patriarchal society, then they suck and should stop, and really they just shouldn't play video games at all. So really
suck it up, be a man, shed your tears in private when no one's looking, and get on with your day.
Or hell, be a man and shed your tears in public, and take it like a man and come back and win the next round fair and square.
Really, and if you can't do that and you can't take that pressure, seriously, go play another game. It's the same thing that I say to anyone who jumps into a game and wants to be an asset. Oh, this game is terrible. You know what everyone should be playing is this other game. Then go play that other game.
Well, that's why I still play Overwatch some, but that's why I stopped playing competitive League. Is because it got to that point of such competitiveness where it just stressed me out. It just got me pissed off more than anything else. It gets to that point of being so angry at the people you're playing with or against, where it's like, why am I even playing if all it's doing is like making me irrationally angry at a person I've never even met in real life? Maybe I need to evaluate my life choices if that's the consequence of me playing this video game in this context. So that's why I never play it. That's why I don't play Overwatch competitive, because it takes all the fun and soul out of playing a video game to me. Because first off, I suck at Overwatch, and so that just makes you angry, and I'm just like, it's just not fun anymore. And the thing with the game like Overwatch Competitive League, no matter what rank you get to, you're going to get to that point. So let's say you're...
That ceiling.
Yeah, you're going to hit that ceiling. Well, they'll feel like I do right now, but you're going to get to that point where you can't get any better. And you'll be like, oh, man. So some people deal much better with it. I didn't enjoy it, so I'm like, screw this. Instead of, like Charlie said, instead of getting angry and cursing at people, I'm just going to stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
one of the many reasons why I stopped playing Smite.
Yeah, there definitely comes that. Yeah, I think.
Well, the other problem with Smite is that Hi-Rez is literally screwing around with everything, and they're doing it with Paladins now. It's like every single time I jump on there, it's like, oh, by the way, this new release, we changed this, we took this out, we added this feature back, and we decided not to do this other thing that was really cool. Everyone liked it, but we decided, nah. You're like, what the fuck?
I feel like that's something that Blizzard with Overwatch does really well is, and it's not just Overwatch, just in general, they've had the history of this in video games. They always make very calculated choices in their video games. Like they always, you can tell that they're always really thinking through what they do. That's not to say they don't make a misstep. Every developer makes missteps.
Diablo 3.
What?
Diablo 3.
Yeah, every video game developer does that, absolutely. But I feel like Blizzard really, they're not just throwing the darts.
No.
I mean, I know Diablo 3 obviously had the whole gold auction house issue, but it wasn't just something
Well, there's some other stuff in there too.
but it's not just something they just, let's try this out and see what happens. They really thought it was going to work, but then they've really evaluated and they fixed the problem. And I feel like Blizzard does a good job of that, of like listening to the community and figuring it out and really making it, really refining and distilling that video game experience because of actual data and information listening to their audience instead of just trying shit out.
Well, I mean, this is probably one of the things that kind of ticks me off about high res in both Smite and Paladins is the fact that they need to just stick with this is how the game is. This is the game modes. Go. We're going to tweak a couple small little things, but you don't do overhaul changes every month. Especially if you're going into the competitive arena where you're going to be hosting tournaments, where you're going to have big, named pro gamers participating in your game. If they don't even know what the hell is going to be happening, yes, I understand. The vast majority of pro league events, they lock to a specific version and they don't update.
Yeah.
However, when they're not playing professionally and they're just trying to play casual, just to keep your, play against different people, trying to just try out new tactics and stuff. If the next iteration that they'll be playing after this current season is so different, what the shit?
Yep.
Because you're trained for this. It's not whatever. Anyways, grow a pair, gentlemen. If you have a problem with females playing the game, you dumb. Embrace it.
Embrace the player base.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next topic. And our next topic is right back into the toxicity world.
More toxicity!
No! What can game studios do to combat online toxicity? So,
Half-Life mods.
now, of course, one of the foregone conclusions is that when a game becomes too big or too popular, the toxicity rises.
Yes.
Not necessarily, but the vast majority of the time, that's going to happen because you have so much attention on it. People are like, "Why? I want attention," and if you do it in certain ways, you gain attention, of course, for all the wrong reasons, and then you become YouTube celebrities.
Well, not only that, but the more players you have, the harder it is to police it. Because at some point, if you have millions of players, you can only have so many active GMs or mods patrolling the games. So at some point, you have to use computer heuristics to try to, ferret that out. You have to rely on players, Like, okay, I played a game of Overwatch the other night, right? The player's name was Toxicity something.
And were they toxic?
Oh, God. Literally, as soon as you jump in the game, he literally just says, first off, it's an open mic the entire time, so you hear clickety-clack. And it's just gay. Every 3 seconds, he just says gay. You're gay. That's all he says over and over the entire game. And I reported him and muted him, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I just interacted with this kid. What do you think the chances are that's the first time this has happened in a game?
Oh, yeah.
He's doing that every single game. So it's like when you encounter plays like that, something's obviously not working in this whole banning whatever mechanism. When you get players, like I get the people who, you can tell some players who play with when they're being toxic, they're just maybe tilted that game. Or something when they're really pissed off, that I can deal with. I'm like, okay, they're tilted this game. But players like that, I'm like, how is this still happening?
Yeah. By the way, the reason why we're bringing up a lot of this toxicity stuff is that GDC, the Game Developer Conference, just happened like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and so a lot of these topics actually came up. That's why we have a lot of information about the Fair Play Alliance. But another panel that happened at GDC was more around specifically what individual developers potentially could do to combat online toxicity. Of course, you know, we just stated that when the game becomes too big or too popular, that toxicity rises. And the lecturer actually stated that that most people would say that someone acts like an asshole because they're hiding behind a fake name.
That's fair.
No.
No?
Because if you look at, a case in point is when you look at certain forums or hell on Facebook, people can still be total assholes with their name attached to it, simply because you can't immediately get to them. Yes, there's a way to get more information about an individual, but maybe not enough to actually track them down and hurt them. But on the flip side, let's talk about anonymity. When you have a username that basically masks, are you male, are you female, or how old are you, all that stuff, certain things like Reddit, where you have a name. Reddit, of course, has clear policies and moderators who can actually enforce those policies. And inside Reddit, the ones that are controlled the right way, you can have a healthy discussion, and you have that extra layer of security to eliminate the possibility of, you know, harassment, abuse, and all that stuff.
I agree with that.
So what this lecturer was saying is that developers need to invest in experienced community managers and customer support specialists who have the skill sets needed to deal with these problems. The sooner they join the team, the sooner the studio can come up with good strategies and tools.
How do you do that, though? Because here's one problem I'd have with that, is that they're comparing it to Reddit, is those are all unpaid mods.
Right.
So in this case, are they going to be paid for their services?
Yes.
So that's
community managers and customer representatives.
So that's, to me, where the analogy kind of maybe falls a little flat, is Reddit's unpaid. I mean, you have a few of them, you know, super mods who are paid, but that's the actual Reddit mods. But all of your subreddits are all managed by free labor.
Well, you can still have like a bunch of mods that I'm sure there's probably some like mods that give a small little incentive for a game company. It's not just going to be this one person, because that would be ridiculous. Okay, so you have a very successful Reddit channel going on, which may have like 30 different mods, sub-mods that police everything, make sure everything's cool, no one's, you know, trying to dick around with the rules. And then you have a video game company who just has one person. No, I don't think so. What they need, though, is they need someone who understands that stuff, and then you can, I would assume that they're basically be able to build their base of moderators underneath them to really combat it. One of the things, something that was said was the problem with abuse comes down to the game mechanics, which encompasses all the different actions available to player. She advises them to think hard about the type of emotions that their gameplay elicits and use design plans to help reduce toxicity. See, here's the thing. There's never going to be one solution, okay? Everyone is going to interpret stuff differently. So to say that you have to think hard about the type of emotions that your gameplay elicits, it's open to the individual, the eye of the beholder. There's not going to be an easy way to fix this. Yes, of course, you can try to maybe, you know, I don't want to say simplify, but maybe find a way that those mechanics may not cause enough. But the thing is, when you're playing an online game, the vast majority of it's battle, okay? So someone's going to die.
And that's the thing. I totally agree. Like, let's just Overwatch, for instance, right?
Yeah.
You're playing competitive league. The object is to win the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're playing, you know, 6-on-6, and my team always is getting crushed by the other 6, how do you turn that into a positive experience for all 6 of the losing players when you know you're going to lose SR rating and get shoved down the rankings so you not have to climb back up?
Well, the other thing is with an online game, a PvP, player versus player type of environment where it's squad based, there's no way to 100% of the time shield gamers from being ganged up upon with verbal abuse from other teammates.
Well, unless you do the Destiny route. no in-game chat.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the way
Like
I
that's
play
the opposite.
Paladin.
That's the opposite end of the
That's
spectrum.
why I
is-
play Paladin.
There's
I
none in
play with the
Destiny.
controller, so there's no voice and there's no text window.
Which I think Destiny went too far. See, here's why is because I get in because Destiny's PvE. Yes, there's the PvP and the Crucible part, but it's a PvE and you have raids and stuff. But how are you supposed in a open world MMO where you can't communicate with your brethren?
Right.
Like to me, that went too far. Like I don't mind. I wouldn't even mind if it's opt-in to chat. Okay, if I have to opt in to do chats, sure, I can deal with that. But to have absolutely no in-game chat feature whatsoever, in the name of eliminating toxicity, I think Destiny went too far. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons I stopped playing Destiny is because the idea of Destiny appealed to me because it was this online first-person shooter game where you get to interact with other people. I like the MMO idea.
There's no interaction.
There's no interaction. Like the MMO went as far as you can see people, but you can't interact. I mean, hell, Defiance did a much better job at the MMO aspect than Destiny, because you could, guess what, actually interact with people and talk with them. And so I feel like that was too far the other end of the spectrum, and it basically eliminated the feel of community in the game.
Right. So one of the other speakers stated that what could benefit, this is the one who's talking about emotions, what could benefit a game is what she calls empathy hurdles. At an early point in the game by introducing mechanics that reward players for good behavior, like forming friendships and trusting one another. People can lie through their teeth, okay? And the thing is, you also have those individuals who will help an individual, a newbie, get through certain parts so that they can royally screw them over after they've gone through the newbie stuff.
It's really hard to do that in most PvE games.
PvP.
Okay, PvP, yeah. PvE games is really hard to do that. What I do like that Final Fantasy XIV does is you can give commendations after a dungeon run. And so Final Fantasy XIV is by far the most friendly community I've played with in an MMO. And there's just, I think part of the reason too that they do is part of the dungeon finder. So, you know, it's one of those, you get to top level and you have to get tokens and stuff, right? Is the way they had it is one of the ways you could get tokens is by doing low level dungeons. But like, let's say you're DPS, right? And you don't want some scrub tank, you know, some new level 10 scrub tank doing it. Well, guess what? You can still get your tokens by playing tank. And basically, no matter how bad the rest of your team is, you can carry the team by playing a tank. So if you want to be that player to just power level through, you can do that still as a top level player. So like, you really had no reason to get pissed off at the rest of your team because you can still do it yourself. So I feel like Final Fantasy XIV and the way they really implemented being able to go back to the lower dungeons helped to kind of circumvent a lot of that potential toxicity. Potential because guess what? Just like any other online game, there's always some element of it in the game.
So I do like the fact that there was one statement that was made during this talk, and that was the majority of players are great, non-toxic people. You owe, this is to the and then she pointed to the developer, you owe it to them to try to make a great experience for everybody as best as you can, is what I would add on to that.
And I agree with that. It's like a lot of the things in the world is the shit rises to the top. And all it takes is that one jackass to make your life not fun. I mean, you could play, you know, if you play, let's just say 10 Destiny, let's play Overwatch, 10 Overwatch games. That's maybe 2 to 3 hours of gameplay. It's not terrible. And you're playing with, on your team, 60 players. All it takes is 1 out of 60. So you're talking less than 2% of players to make that entire 2-3 hours just miserable. Like that player going on chat and just spamming gay over and over. All it takes is that one player, less than 2% of all people we play with, and that's what you remember about that 3 hours of gameplay, was that one jackass. And that's the hard part is, you know, do you kind of punish the whole player base for really what is a very small minority of jackwagons? It's a good question because, you see different companies do different things to deal with toxicity. You go one end with Destiny where no chat. Other ones they try to have, early on World of Warcraft was really big about in-player GMs who were always patrolling the chat and stuff. There was always trolling, that was a given, but there's a difference between trolling and just being toxic. So different games do it different ways. Smite have like favor or something based on if people give you thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, you get so one of the many different currencies that you get, I believe, is favor, that you can then turn around and buy stuff with, very low level stuff, but still you could buy stuff with. If you get reported, your goodwill is set to 0, and then you have to play a couple matches for that percentage to go up back to 100. Now, of course, people will game that system and say, and they'll band together. Go, well, this guy was an absolute asshat. Even though he didn't do anything, he's trying his best. He still sucks balls. So let's knock him down a peg.
Yeah, because if you're just not good at the game, because some people just aren't good at Smite.
Or maybe it's the first time I've ever played the game, you assholes.
Exactly, and then you get ganged on for being toxic, even though you're not. So it's a hard problem to solve.
Yes. Here's one solution that that a developer has for their online game, and that is, in order for banned players to return to the game and the community, they either have to wipe their progress and reinstall the game, or, here's a fun one, contact the company and explain why they were being so abusive in the first place. This method dramatically reduces the amount of toxicity in the game because the vast majority of people will not come back.
Well, okay, here's another approach maybe in a PvE game is, let's take the holy trinity of MMOs. Like World of Warcraft's a good example, right?
Yep.
The big one who gets trolled a lot, or not trolled on, feels the toxicity, is a healer. Because if you can't heal your dungeon, that's the first person to get shit on is the healer.
Yep.
Why can't you heal, you noob? It doesn't matter if the tank is terrible, the DPS
I don't think it even has to be just World of Warcraft. I think if there's a game out there that has a healer.
I'm just saying World of Warcraft because that's kind of the standard.
Right.
But you could be a DPS standing in shit, and you die because you're standing there the entire time. They'll still yell at the healer. But take, you played Guild Wars 2, right?
Very briefly, yeah.
Okay, so Guild Wars 2, there's no Holy Trinity. There's some players, some classes are definitely more proficient at healing, but guess what? Every class has its own healing spells. Every class has its own ability to mitigate damage. Every class basically has their own self-sustain. So if you die, guess whose fault it is?
Your own damn fault.
Yes, yes, some classes, that's their roles to help do that stuff, but for the most part, you can't really, it's hard to be toxic at another player for healing when you didn't heal yourself when you can. And Destiny 2 is kind of the same way, where, every player has their own damage, mitigation, and healing spells that they can use built into their kit. So you don't have a healing class. You have one class that's a little bit tankier, supposed to be frontline, but he doesn't necessarily have to do that. It can still be just fine. So in a way, it kind of maybe helps to eliminate that toxicity because you can't be pissed off at that player for losing aggro, because that was never his job in the first place to keep aggro, because you don't have that type of class.
But then you have games like Smite that literally has a healer class, or Paladins, which has a healer class. And if you decide to go Rambo in either of them and go, what the shit, man, it's supposed to be healing me. No, not necessarily. If you are a moron and continuously try to run into the middle of all the enemies, I'm not joining you because I don't want to die.
Well, it's the same thing in...
Because healers are squishy.
Well, in Overwatch, you have Mercy. She's the healer. And she's an interesting character because from a first-person shooter mechanics perspective, she has a very low floor ceiling because you don't aim. You just click and I heal you. But she's also extremely squishy, and somebody sees a healing beam from Mercy, guess who the first player the enemy is going to kill?
Mercy.
Yes. So it's very easy when you're playing a particularly competitive matches for people to get pissed off at you as Mercy when you die, but at the same time, well, yes, it's because my DPS doesn't kill the flankers coming in at me, and the tank isn't helping at all, so how am I supposed to live? But it's so obvious when a healer, like, a healer is very obvious when they're dying and they're maybe are or aren't doing their job, but it's hard to call out a DPS for not doing their job because it's not as visually evident. Does that make sense? Where healer is that first class, and that's, you know, usually MMOs, first-person shooters, any of those kind of games where that's their job is to heal, they're the first to be called out. Even though a lot of times it's not their fault that they're dying, it's because, dude, did you not see the guy just run right past your face? You're supposed to kill him, that's your job.
Any game, any competitive game that I've played, like Smite or Paladins, for example, anytime that there's like a healer class out there, you take out the healer first.
Yeah, that's the rule. Like, that's the whole reason you have a tank in an MMO is to keep aggro off of a healer. Like, that's their only job in life, literally. And so, because that's the first thing you should do, is kill the healer.
Because if you can kill the healer enough and early enough, that means that they're way behind in like level progression, which means that their ability to help protect the frontliner or the guardian or the tank is much less, and so they will have to be more cautious. Well, they don't have to be. They should be more cautious because their protection is going to be Shazam. So, anyways, yes, I don't think that this. I mean, I understand some of these points that these panelists said. There's no way to just get all warm and fuzzy on every single component of a game and go, that removes toxicity.
Yay!
No. People will always find a way to be dicks in a game. And yes, this is a pretty extreme way of dealing with it. I mean, it's not extreme, but it is kind of funny where to return, you either have to wipe your character completely out and reinstall it, or you have to talk to the company and say, this is why I was a dick, and I'll never be a dick again.
Just write a 5-paragraph essay about your dickishness.
Well, we need a thesis that's cited correctly.
In MLA format.
Yeah. And we need it within a week of your request to be reinstated. However, you cannot start and said thesis until you've requested that reinstatement, because we may have changed the rules since last time someone had to do it. Shazam. I don't know why I keep saying Shazam, but anyways. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I would love for toxicity to go away. I know that's not possible. I know that there's individuals who like to troll, who like to be dickheads. But at the same time, you know, like Zealeus says, there's a difference between someone being absolutely 100% toxic and just being a troll. Like, there are individuals out there who go out of their way to, at random intervals and in random matches with an open mic, decide to rickroll the entire team. That is an asshole dickish move. However, it's kind of funny. And I'm not going to be like, you son of a bitch! I mean, I will, but I won't be like, I can't play this anymore because I feel, you know, vulnerable. However, you have those individuals out there who start trying to, you know, do racial slurs and talking about your mama and all that stuff, and maybe threatening you with physical violence. It might cause people to stop playing.
Very possible.
Anyways, let's do a little bit of a rundown, shall we? Oh, I don't have a slide for this, but I do want to make, I'll use the blank one. I do want to say one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that I've been talking up a certain convention a lot. Well, of course, I talked AndoCon up a lot, and of course, MomoCon. But the other convention that I was planning on going to, Big Fan of Greenville.
Big Fan of Greenville.
Has gone away. Big Fan of Greenville is no more.
It's gone the dodo bird?
It's gone the way of the dodo bird. And actually, it happened last year, but of course, I had my head in the dirt, or I died off like the dodo bird before I knew about it, whatever. So Big Fan of Greenville is no longer a thing. So I unfortunately will not be there, because there's not going to be one.
I think you should still go to Greenville anyways. Just say hi.
Hey, I'm doing a convention. What?
Dave, what's up? Let's just hang out.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, but Big Fan of Greenville is gone. And if I had known that early enough on, I would have gone to Canuga, maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Because I was saving up all my money to go to Big Fan of Greenville. But now, of course...
Maybe now you can afford a new webcam or something.
That's true.
Maybe allocate elsewhere for some of our other needs. There's always possibilities.
Oh, speaking of which, I know that there's been quite a few people who wanted to know the actual equipment that we're using for our
good question.
interviews, as well as our recording of like panels / talks. I know that many people are like, dude, the audio sucks when you're doing the panels. You're right. It absolutely does, because I'm utilizing the built-in mic for my camcorder.
That is not ideal.
No, it's not. I tried to have a shotgun mic. It does not pick up anything. And of course, my actual microphones are condensers. Therefore, if you're more than, I don't know, it's like a foot away from the mic, it doesn't pick you up.
That's sad.
So then I am left, because I don't have any fancy technology to try to do that. Because I know that there are individual, the official media guy for the Georgia Game Developer Association has his camera set up, but he also has this little cool little box. Basically sits up near the front that actually catches all the vocals and whatnot, and it syncs. I don't have it.
That sounds useful.
Yes. I mean, I guess technically I could go find myself a little digital recorder and throw it on the table, but I don't know the sound quality, because that little box that the guy has is like, you know, surround sound type deal. It's not airy. It's not, you know, the cheap digital recorder type thing.
That's the good
So
stuff.
so if you are interested in finding that stuff, I did post it on our website, www.AlteredConfusion.com. You can see the camcorder, the preamp, the microphone, and the tripod.
Nice.
Now, before anyone says anything, yes, I do understand that the preamp is hanging from the bottom of the tripod.
Oh, over there?
That's the only way that it would work. And yes, for those who are for those of you who are wondering, well, what the hell is the preamp sitting in? It's a Tupperware container that I cut holes into so that a preamp would sit in there. So that it would sit, so I could then tie string on the top of it and then hang it from the bottom of the tripod.
Nice. I approve.
MacGyver, baby, MacGyver! Anyway, so let's do a couple other shout-outs real quick, and then we'll unfortunately have to end this. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's this wonderful thing called Patreon. Patreon is a way for you, the audience, the fans, the lovers of the show, to give back to Altered Confusion in a financial way. Basically, what it is a monthly donation type of situation. So you could go to our Patreon page. I think it's like patreon.com/AlteredConfusion, and you could donate anywhere between $1 and up, and that money goes
Infinite money.
That money goes into the Altered Confusion Fund, which allows us to upgrade our equipment.
Have a proper preamp location.
Probably, yes. It also helps us cover convention costs, be it like electricity or convention badges. Or if you want...
Convention booth babes?
No booth babes.
Booth cats?
No booth cats. If you want to maybe just give one time, you're not into, you know, basically getting an automatic withdrawal every single month, you can do a one-time donation to our PayPal account. There's a donate now button on our Twitch. There's also one on our website, www.AlteredConfusion.com. And if you don't want to go either of those routes, but you want to do something for Altered Confusion, you, of course, can always hit us up through any of our social media means. You can do it through our website, once again, www.AlteredConfusion.com. You can hit us up on Facebook.
At AlteredConfusionLLC.
No, that's YouTube.
Dang it, just Altered Confusion.
Altered Confusion is Facebook. YouTube is
AlteredConfusionLLC.
Twitter is
AlteredConfusio without the N, because the N would
break the internet. And then, of course, if you're not watching this on Twitch, or you want to watch it live on Twitch, next time is twitch.tv/AlteredConfusion. Hit us up on any of that, and we will, you know, let's chat.
We love to tag.
If you're looking for just, you know, you like what you see, but you're not ready to jump into the deep end.
We are in the deep end. We're already there.
one thing that you can absolutely 100% do is on top of favoriting and liking and whatever other thumbs up you can give to us through any of the social media means, is that if you could share, retweet what we're doing, that too can help in a big way to allow us, one, to gain a bigger audience, because we do this show for the audience. The more people we have, the better we can craft the show to match the topics that are important to you. Now, I know a lot of people are like, but it's just video games, you're probably just going to talk about indie. Technically, yes, we're going to talk about video games. However, there's anything that's like on the outskirt of video games, be it like
we've talked
TV,
about it.
movies, nerdy, geeky stuff, we'll hit it. Now, of course, we are not going to talk about like the economic downfall of, I don't know, Brazil in 1925. That's not my cup of tea. I don't even know if there was an economic downfall in Brazil at that time. I don't know. But if you talk about stuff that we actually know, we can talk about it.
And of course, you can come join us in the Discord channel, where we will have the topics listed for you to drop a note into. We've had a lot of people been dropping the topics.
Now, of course,
into Discord.
if you want information on the Discord channel, just hit us up through any of the social media means. It's really complicated for me to tell you the URL because it kind of changes every single time that I do the invite send out. But if you hit us up, we'll give you the invite send out so you can join in on the fun.
Yeah.
One last thing, and then of course, unfortunately, we'll have to do the send off, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I do want to thank everybody for continuing to support Altered Confusion. I hope that everyone has enjoyed the videos that have been posted from EndoCon.
EndoCon!
The two videos that I have posted, that I've taken there, there's one more, but it's just a small piece of a panel. The two big panels that I recorded and have now put out, first of all, you can tell, yes, audio quality, but like I said, I'm doing it through a camcorder mic. The GMing 101, which was phenomenal because you had Sean Patrick Fannin, a huge mega legend in the pencil and paper arena. Eddie Webb, a huge mega popular legend in the pencil and paper arena. And Christopher Tan, who is basically, if you wanted to ever do something through drive-through RPG, he would be your point of contact for customer relations.
That's amazing, 3 people.
I know. And of course, he's a huge gamer as well. So, I mean, it was awesome. You definitely need to check it out. And you can also hear my voice ask a question.
Yeah.
Actually, they put me a little bit on the spot. I said, so, I said something around Crystals of Prime. And they're like, so when's the Kickstarter start? I'm like, I don't know. So there's that one. And then there's another one saying, how to utilize Kickstarter to launch your first game. That was Christopher Tang and an individual by the name of Fernando Aragon. It was a much smaller crowd, so it's very like, you know, they basically just said some pointers and some lessons learned. Which, of course, if you want to launch a game through Kickstarter, definitely tune into that.
It would be the people who know.
And I'm going to be totally honest with you. If you really want information on how to successfully run a Kickstarter campaign where you're not, you know, basically shooting for the moon and getting yourself screwed over in the process, you need to talk to Craig Campbell, mastermind of Nerdburger Games. Also does a weekly podcast, the Nerdburger podcast with his friend Mike. He has now 3 successful Kickstarters. I mean, Capers are still going, but it's already, you know, surpassed their goal. Mergers and Acquisitions, of course, he was the guy who basically put together the EndoCon Kickstarter. Indeed. So the man knows what he's doing. If you want information, you go to Craig. But yes, so check out those. I've posted them on YouTube, our website, and of course, a link to it on Facebook. I can't remember if I did it on Twitter. I apologize if I didn't.
I don't tweet.
But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. It has been a pleasure to give you everything coming out of our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next week to give you another round of Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout awesomeness. And of course, after this next Tuesday, I will once again be streaming every Tuesday. I know that a lot of people are like, what the shit is going on? Altered Confusion is supposed to be streaming on Tuesdays from 8 to 11. I joined a second basketball league. Many people might know that I play in a basketball league on Mondays. I joined a second one, so I was playing Mondays and Tuesday nights. So it made it really hard for me to stream the entire 8 to 11 part. If it's a late game, I wouldn't be able to stream at all because by the time I'm back home, it's past 11 and I probably need to fall in bed and pass out. I
did stream 2 of those.
Yes, which I was very happy about.
I did.
You did one, you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then the other one, you're like, nah, it's not going to happen. I got to talk to all these people. And then all of a sudden, he's like, screw it. I'm going to suck it up on Overwatch.
I need some Overwatch in my life.
All right. So anyways, I'm probably going to get back on that schedule, of course. Tuesdays, Sundays are my streams, 8 to 11. Of course, Thursday night hangouts start at 8 and go to 9:15, unless, of course, something happens. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Altered Confusion Thursday night hangout, and we'll see you next week.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.